What's going on, guys? Seth here from Team Union Seth, back as your coach of the Philadelphia Fearows for our Week 1 battle in the IPL against the Durham Dragalge. If you haven't checked out the team builder, make sure you check that out and see why we're bringing what we're bringing. This league, again, the first week we only had 6 Mons, the 6 that we drafted, so I knew what my opponent was bringing, but she also knew what I was bringing. So it was a little interesting to build, but it was still pretty cool. It was I don't want to say easier, like I knew what she was going to bring, so I could prepare for exactly what she was going to bring, but I also know that she could do the same for me. So it was easier to build, but I'm a little bit more concerned about the Mons in general. But I do believe I have a pretty good team matchup, so if you haven't, we brought the Mega Scizor, Zygarde, Milotic, Lycan, Rock Dusk, Slurpuff, and Electrode, while she has the Dusknoir, Mightyena, Garchomp, Ninetales, Alolan, Umbreon, and the Mega Charizard X. So let's get right into the battle. I apologize that it is post-com. Again, the recording's messed up. This should probably be the last one with messed up recordings. I'm not sure exactly, but hopefully it is. But anyway, getting right into it. I lead off with the Lycan Rock to try to get up my rocks. As she leads off with the Umbreon, and I just go for the taunt to stop this thing from doing any taunting or wishing or protecting toxic, whatever. She switched into the Dusknoir as I do go for those rocks and get them up. Now at this point, I just decided to switch to Milotic and get my Flame Orb up so I can start getting that defense boost right away, as the Dusknoir goes for Power Up Punch. So I was a little intrigued at this point. I wasn't exactly sure what set, but I know my Milotic is defensive, as the Dusknoir goes for Sucker Punch, and I miss my Toxic. So I know I can take hits from this thing because I am defensive, so I can take a good amount of hits. I go for another Toxic as this one lands, and she goes for another Power Up Punch. So I see that does a decent chunk of damage. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but enough to where I'm a little bit concerned about some of the coverage moves that she could get. Just goes for the Shadow Sneak, which was a little interesting. So I do decide to go for the Haze and get rid of those boosts right off the bat, just so that they don't keep stacking and this doesn't become more of a problem than it needs to be. At this point, she switches the Dusknoir out into her Mightyena, as I go for the Recover because I need to keep this thing healthy for his Dragons, for the Zard and for the Garchomp. So she goes for Thunderfang with the Mightyena. It really does nothing to my Milotic, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable. I just went for another Recover. Again, scouting a little bit to see what she wanted to do, as well as making sure that I am up high enough to take hits from those Dragons. She goes for another Thunderfang, as I am free to fire off a Scald, which does a ton of damage. It does about 50%. So I don't really want to take another Thunderfang, but she does end up switching out into the Umbreon, because I'm assuming she didn't want to take another Scald, but I do end up just going for a Recover. Again, trying to stay at as high of health as I can. So at this point, I go for the Toxic. I was planning for this situation in prep. I go for the Toxic. She can't synchronize me with the Umbreon because I am already burnt, but she does have the Lumberry on the Umbreon, which heals the Toxic as the Umbreon goes for Taunt. So I decide to switch out because there's not a whole lot I can do into my Scizor. She goes for Wish, and at this point, I'm free to Mega Evolve and just go for a U-turn. Does a ton of damage to this thing, ends up staying in. We get the U-turn off, does a ton of damage as I double back into my Milotic because I know I'm faster and I can get a Toxic off, but the Umbreon just goes for another Taunt. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, well, this Umbreon's getting pretty annoying, so I just double back out into my Mega Scizor so I can go for yet another U-turn. I know it's going to kill based on the damage from the last U-turn, however, the Umbreon goes for Protect. So this thing is already kind of pissing me off. But I actually went for the Bullet Punch, predicting the Protect, I believe. So I decided to U-turn at this point just to get damage off, as she does sack off the Mightyena. So we get rid of the Mightyena, which, I mean, the Mightyena wasn't a huge problem, but getting rid of anything is always good. And I decided to go into my Slurpuff, just trying to make sure that she can't really bring in anything too scary. Now, this Garchomp does kill me with Poison Jab if, I'm not sure if it was Bandit or Life Orb that killed me. I think it was one of those, but either way, I decided to switch to my Milotic because that's what this thing is for. And I just go for the Haze as she goes for Outrage with the Garchomp. We see that it is Life Orb, but I go for the Haze to get rid of its boost, as I know I'm going to die to the burn anyway. So at this point, she's locked into Outrage. The Garchomp is locked in, so I can just switch into Slurpuff and get my Belly Drum up because the rest of his team does not want to take anything from this Slurpuff. So it goes for another Outrage because she has to. She's locked in. I go for my Belly Drum, get my +6 attack, get my Unburden and my Citrus Berry off, just go for a Play Rough, knock out the Garchomp as we're going to take a little bit of Rough Skin damage, and at this point, that's basically game. Nothing wants to take a hit from this thing. I decided to go for Facade on this thing in case she decided to not Mega Evolve. Then Drain Punch, I'm not sure if Drain Punch would have killed, and I didn't want to risk the miss with Play Rough, so I went for Facade to knock that out. She brings in the Ninetales, sets up the Hail. Again, not a big deal. I do outspeed because of the Unburden. Just go for a Drain Punch, knock this thing out, get a little bit of health back. So I'm almost at up to full now, so I'm really not concerned about anything at this point. She's going to bring in the Umbreon, and this thing is just a Drain Punch or a Play Rough away from death. So I do go for a Play Rough and knock it out. And then we have the Dust Noir last, and I can just Play Rough that thing and knock it out for game. So good game to my opponent. I was able to get that Slurpuff in. I knew, like you guys saw in the team builder, I knew that Slurpuff just destroyed her team, destroyed whatever she could bring. So I knew the Belly Drum Slurpuff was really awesome. I was thinking about bringing Sticky Web Slurpuff to kind of throw her off, and maybe bring like an SD Scizor. But Slurpuff's just too good in this matchup. It was just too good. So again, good game to my opponent. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Let me know if there's anything you think I could have done different or better. But other than that, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.